So if there's one word I'm going to use to describe the Bone Temple, it is going to be metal as fuck. Let's talk about the Bone Temple, the new film from Nia DaCosta, which is going to be one of those movies I think a lot of people are going to be very, very surprised with. This is my full review for it. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, stay tuned. We're going to talk spoilers in a couple of days. Let's let it marinate and people watch it first, right? So the movie opens this Friday. It is the next in the 28 Years Later trilogy. This, of course, comes after the film 28 Years Later last year from Danny Boyle, which I loved a lot. I know a lot of people didn't really like it, and I think people are wondering if I didn't like that one, well, I like this one. And I have to tell you, I think you'll probably like this one a little bit more if you're looking more for that carnage, that sort of like zombie feel. You definitely get it here, and yes, we're calling them zombies now. I'm not the one that made the rules. They set the word in the film last year, so I'm rolling with that. And I know maybe it's not the correct term, but that's what I'm going with. Nia DaCosta here delivers, I think, a movie that I'm juggling between in my mind now whether I like this one more or the first one, but I like both of them a lot. Like, I think they're excellent film. Now, this picks up right after the events of the previous film, so spoilers ahead for that movie if you haven't watched it, but pretty much at the end of the previous film, we see Jack O'Connell and the Jimmies come through. I don't know if that's much of a spoiler, really. This movie really focuses on them, the character of Jack O'Connell, Sir Jimmy Lord Crystal, and is a terrifying character, I will tell you. I wasn't aware that Jack O'Connell could get darker than he was in Sinners, and I was wrong. Jack O'Connell is going to be playing a ton of villains. I hope he doesn't just get typecast in that, because after Sinners, now this feels like that could happen, because I think I want to see more of Jack O'Connell's range, because I can see it there. But if he plays a couple more villains, that's fine. But he plays Sir Jimmy Lord Crystal, this kind of cultish band of like misfits that are running around terrorizing people, just doing inhumane, despicable acts. This movie is despicable and gross. It gets to a point when you're just like, am I supposed to even be looking at this? And I was kind of surprised that they went all the way with it. I think Nia DaCosta did talk about that this movie was going to be insane. And insane is an understatement with a lot of the things that happen here. This movie is gruesome to its core. Although it has all of that, it still has the soul. It still has the, I would say, psychedelic feeling that the first one sort of was giving off. And it sort of takes that, cranks it up to 10 or 11, as Raph says in the trailer, because Raph is front and center in here as well. If there were two protagonists in this movie, it would definitely be Raph's Dr. Ian Kelson and also Jack's Sir Jimmy Lord Crystal. Two sides of the coin. And I really do love how this movie explores our relationship with one another when disaster hits, when there aren't answers, and how two different people can sort of rationalize it in different ways and approach the world in different manners as well. You have Dr. Ian Kelson, who still has some hope, who still has some feelings about the old world and sort of wants to have a return and have a balance and a, I would say, care to everything around him. Whereas you have a character like Jack O'Connell's Sir Jimmy, who sort of has this more pessimistic and dark view of the world and really loves harboring in the chaos and everything else that unfolds. And I really did love how we were able to see both of these characters balanced out in that way. And I think that this movie really shines when it's really trying to hone in on both of these. Now, Spike is in the middle of it all, and as Spike, we basically are Spike as the viewer, right? We're seeing all of these characters come together, and it was just an incredible moment to see. The cinematography here goes crazy. It is beautifully shot. There are some very interesting manners that the camera is used as well, which I enjoyed. Very different from Danny Boyle, which I was kind of worried that this would just feel like a rehash of 20 years later, but both films stand out in the cinematography, camera movement, and all of that. A lot more, I would say, using a musical like score that is set to songs, which I thought was great because this movie does have a bit more of a psychedelic feel, and those things kind of take you out at the same time, and it kind of makes a very interesting mishmash with what's going on the screen, which really elevated the experience of watching this. And I think there is a scene in the final sequence act of this film that is going to have everybody standing up and being like, holy shit, that's probably one of the best scenes all year, and I haven't even seen another movie this year. It's going to take a lot to top that off because what Raph, what everybody involved in that scene does is just other level shit. I think Nia DaCosta is an incredible director. I'm excited to see more of her work. I need to get on the Hedda wave because I've been hearing so many great things about that. And after 20 years later, The Bone Temple, DaCosta has the sauce, and I'm excited to see what she does next. I think everybody else sort of gets some time to shine two here and there. But like I said, this is more of a character study of Jimmy and also Dr. Ian Kelson. So if you're looking for all these other characters from the previous entry or other ones, you might be a bit disappointed. Even some of the new Jimmys here aren't really there to shine, but it sort of is a movie that's segueing into the final act. And I think that all they wanted to do was introduce and build and just continue to expand the lore that we already had in the previous film, which is great. There's a lot of moments here that will be shocking, and not shocking for shocking's sake. Like, they really make sense in terms of what the film has been trying to do ever since the previous one. And it just worked for me. It worked, but I can see it not working for a lot of people, because I think when you come into this movie, come in here not expecting anything, let the movie be what the movie's going to be and tell you what it's trying to tell you. I think this is going to be a less divisive film than the first one. So if you were a big hater of the first one, which is okay, I think you're going to be pleased with this one. I think the ending for this one as well feels more like a people pleaser than the previous one did. I think that 28 Years Later definitely had a very jarring ending, whereas this one feels like an ending we all kind of expected to happen. And I think it sort of, I don't mean to say this in a way that it's condescending or sort of me complaining, but it felt like an MCU post-credit vibe, if you know what I mean. But I'll get more into that into spoilers. And I still don't know how I feel about that either. Overall though, 20 Years Later, The Bone Temple is very much so a soulful sequel to the previous one. It really is more methodical. It is more mediative than the previous one, where I thought the previous one was definitely a lot more like, the word I want to use is looking within, right? It was more of a film of looking within ourselves and figuring out what does it mean to live in this world that has been forsaken. And in this film, it's like, well, now that we know what it is to live in this world that's forsaken, how do we live? How do we continue? Do we just let it all burn? Do we continue to push forward for a better future? Do we feel that we have completely been forgotten? So what's the point in anything? And it was a very interesting film to think about all of these things, because these characters all feel these various feelings about the world, and they're all in a way valid. This is a world that has gone to shit pretty much. It is a living hell that they are in, and the way that you live in that hell really showcases what type of person you are. I think that this movie is a knockout, honestly, from Nia DaCosta as a director. Jack O'Connell, Raph are on top of their game here and really showcase how you can really move a movie with just like two actors. And that's my only, like, if I were to give you a thing I didn't like about the film, I feel like the other actors were sort of pushed a bit too much to the side, and it kind of left you thinking to yourself, like, I don't know how to feel about them. There's certain storylines here as well that are left just into the open, which could be bad if this was just a standalone film, but I know that they're doing this because they're opening up the webs for the last and final entry into this, which apparently is greenlit already, so we'll definitely be getting to see how the story concludes. But like I said, I really enjoyed a ton about this movie. There were a lot of key moments here that really had me in the feels, but none that really had me like sobbing like the first one did, which I thought was interesting. So I'm curious on a rewatch and all of that, because this was definitely a movie that I thought I knew what I was getting into. I've been talking about it, and then I saw it and it just threw me for a complete loop and gave me something else. My head was spinning at the end, trying to wrap my head around what exactly I just watched. But overall, by the end of it, when I really thought about this movie and how I felt about it, I came out loving it so much, and I'm excited to see more of it. So yeah, if you weren't a fan of the first one, you'll probably like this one a little bit more. I think the ending is a bit more of what people were looking for as well. And if you were a fan of the first one, you're gonna love this one. This one really goes for it in a way I didn't expect it to. Like, I thought the first one was a little bit like oddball wacky. The Bone Temple is the deranged sibling of the first one in the best way possible, and I am here to tell you it is worth watching on the biggest screen. I implore you, watch this on the biggest screen for your first viewing. Don't let anything get spoiled from you. Don't let those scenes arrive online before you see them on the big screen, because they are there to be enjoyed on the big screen, and I cannot stop thinking about them. I just want to rewatch it just for that final sequence in the third act, because it is so incredibly well done. So I'm excited to see what people think. Spoilers this week. theories and all of that. Stay tuned. You basically have all of your characters returning from the first one, from Samson to Dr. Ian Kelson, Spike, as well as getting introduced to the Jimmies and all of that. Some more lore building. You find out more about the infected and exactly how it works. Is there a cure? I know the trailer's been telling you there might be a cure. We'll find out in this film for sure. And it is just incredibly well done, like all of this like information dump that they're giving you, but it doesn't feel like an information dump. It doesn't feel like a character is going like, by the way, I had a eureka moment, you know, like some other things do. This movie really integrates everything and weaves it in a way that it feels natural, while at the same time being a film about the human soul. What does it mean to be human? Who isn't a human really? And the way that evil and all of that can manifest in different ways that you maybe didn't expect it to, and who is the true evil out there. I know, a question that's been like in literature and art and all of that for thousands of years is asked here, but it's asked in a way that makes sense for this world. And I really did enjoy that they try to tackle that on, as well as talk about current events in our own society, in our world, which I'll talk about to you in a bit in another video. And yes, all art is political. That's just the truth. But I really do love this film so much because it really tries to swing for something new and really give a breath of fresh air to something that already had a breath of fresh air last year. So it makes the franchise that much more exciting. Like, I would be open to seeing more in this series. I know there's like a comic book and all of that, but I want to see more in whatever way possible that may be. This is truly one of those like series that they jump started like again after decades, and it just feels like it could go on for a bit. Like, if this trilogy is the end, I would be so surprised, because there is so much here, so much world building. It's incredible. So I'm excited to see what they do with it next. Really love how they're building this finale into something that's going to be interesting to see, because if they can make it work, they're going to make it work incredibly. If they don't make it work, it is going to be horrible how this will feel and just come out cheesy and like a cash grab, in my opinion. Because I was kind of like speculative at the end of it and thinking to myself, was it ever really necessary what they're trying to do here? Like, I think it would have been okay if they didn't pull that move, but at the end of the day, I put my trust in Boyle and Garland that they will deliver something, and I hope that they are going to not be listening to what people are saying they want to see and just do what they want, because some of the things people want to see from these characters or the storylines is just a bit too cheesy and just something that I think everybody thinks about, and it just wouldn't be exciting in my opinion. So we'll see what happens. But overall, just a very, very amazing movie. Nia DaCosta haters, back off. Nia DaCosta's always had the sauce, and I think she definitely showcases it here, and I'm excited to see what she has in the future stored for us. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. On the road to 50,000 subscribers, let's get to it. And as always, I'll see you next time. Stay safe, stay positive.